Pretend you're living in Portugal before it was Portugal in the 500s, and this random dude comes from a ship and starts talking about his faith and how it saved him, and you're really not too keen on listening to all that. But he does offer to help you, and you realize he really isn't that pushy with his faith. He's just genuinely happy about it. As time wears on, you begin to think that, maybe there's something to this faith. So you ask him about it. He gently guides you along the journey through faith, because there are just so many questions to ask. It's hard to do it alone. And before you know it, you're just like him. Happy to have your faith and happy to help others. What else could this guy teach us? Howdy y'all, and welcome back to another episode of the Sanctified Podcast, the show where we explore the stories of various saints throughout history and learn about what they did and how we came to recognize them as saints today. Today's episode is on the shorter side, but that doesn't make the saint any less important. Today, we're going to explore the story of Saint Martin of Braga, a prolific theological author and a kind converter. Martin was born in Pannonia, which is now part of Austria, Hungary, and other Balkan states, around the year 520. Once again, like so many other old saints, we really don't know a whole lot about his early life. What we do know is that he became a monk after a pilgrimage to the Holy Land, and then in around 550, he set out on a mission. This mission was to travel to Galatia, and that's where his real story begins. In Galatia, Martin preached the gospel and helped countless people that he encountered. His efforts paid off, and the locals started to convert. Over the next couple of decades, Martin helped to found multiple monasteries, the most famous of which is at Dumium, or Dume today in Portugal, which is near the Suevic capital of Braga, at that point in history at least. Fairly obviously, he became bishop over these monasteries. He founded them, obviously. It stands to reason he would be the bishop, and as such, he attended the First Council of Braga in 561. From there, he was promoted to the bishop of all of Braga, so the archbishop, before the Second Council of Braga in 572, which he led. His efforts really forged the new foundation of the churches in the Suevic kingdom. They once lacked organization, and Martin helped to guide them and help them establish a better system. Of course, all of these accomplishments are quite remarkable, but Martin's legacy comes from the writings that he left behind. Martin and the monks under his wing translated numerous works from Greek to Latin to be more accessible to others at the time. Today, it's not as useful, but at the time it was super useful. But he didn't only translate old documents, he also wrote his own pieces, expanding on some of them. During the last decade of his life, he wrote two brief treatises, De Ira and Formula Vitae Honestae, and these two treatises were largely inspired by the work of Seneca the Younger. So we get a glimpse into how the world understood his writings at the time through Martin. And that may seem kind of irrelevant or whatever, but that's really valuable in terms of archaeological history and understanding how people thought in history about then history. Because Seneca was a while ago before Martin. Now it's ancient history. But it's just a very fascinating bit of information to get a glimpse into how people's minds operated at that time. But back to the writings. De Ira, which means on anger, is essentially just an adaptation of the same work by Seneca the Younger, but restated in language more modern to Martin's time. Fundamentally, it identifies anger as a destructive tendency not only to others, but to yourself, and it tries to give advice on how to control it through reason, self-control, and virtue. Formula Vitae Honestae, or Rules for an Honest Life, was written for the king of Sueves, Miro, to help guide him as ruler and to follow the four cardinal virtues, which are prudence, justice, fortitude, and temperance. It was really used a while as a foundation for ethics in the Middle Ages, well beyond just Christians and Catholics. A lot of people found it very, very useful. Martin also wrote other pieces, such as De Pascha on Easter, De Trina Immersione on Triple Immersion, a few poems, and a lot more really. And the one piece that he wrote that is still studied today for the information that it offers, both as a theological point and an archaeological sort of mindset understanding, for lack of a better term, is De Correctione Rusticorum on the Reform of Rustics. The reason that this work is so important still to this day is because it is one of the few sources that has the details of 6th century Iberian pagan practices. The document states that it is a bishop's duty to unite the people of their church and to bring others to Christianity. It focuses on the pagans of the region because that is what Martin was most familiar with, and that's what his experiences with his own conversion efforts were that would go on to help so many others. But it's not like Martin was forcing people to join him. No, he was said to be very gentle in his approach to converting people. Think more just like being a kind person and always attributing that kindness to God and less of a, you need to believe me or else. And that's widely believed why he was so successful in his conversion mission. I mean, just think about it. If you have two guys talking to you, one of them's like, hey, believe what I believe, you're probably not going to just be like, yeah, let's go. But if one guy's just helping you out and like while you're working, he's just kind of talking about what he believes, you might be like, this guy's a nice guy. Maybe there's something to what he's talking about. Now, it also helped that he didn't have new converts jump in at the deep end. He eased them into Christianity. Though he lived an ascetic life inspired by the Desert Fathers of Egypt, he didn't hold others to that standard against their will. It wasn't like, you need to fast all day, every Sunday. Just because it was something he did, didn't mean that he wanted others to do it. It was only if they were ready to do it. And I'm not saying that he fasted every Sunday, that was just my example. Martin died around the year 580, at least according to Gregory of Tours. He died the 5th year of King Childebert II. After Martin's death, Gregory also says that his body, or at least relics of his body, were delivered by request to King Chararic to heal his son of leprosy. And it worked. As a result, the king and everyone around him converted happily. Martin is the patron saint of Braga, and his feast day is March 20th. And that's kind of all we got. Like I said, it's a shorter episode, but the writing work that Martin gave us is invaluable. So, if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll do my best to answer them. And what are your thoughts on Saint Martin of Braga? Have you read anything that he wrote or translated? I hope you found his story interesting, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts on Saint Martin of Braga. Thanks for listening. If you'd like to support the channel, you can subscribe, download the episode, like, comment, share it with your friends, or send me a suggestion on a saint to check out by emailing me at sanctifiedpodcast@proton.me. You can find the show on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Podbean, and more. And if you like this episode, tune in next week. I upload every Thursday. Take care, and have a wonderful day.